Hello everyone, Dice here. Today's going to be a simple rundown of Black Ice in Cyberpunk Red. No fluff, just an explanation as if I'm sitting right down by you at your table. If you're wanting much more detailed breakdowns, there are more out there. This is just to help you get going and is a little bit more player-sided than GM-sided. Now, this is the second video I'm doing on Netrunning, because y'all made it clear you really do want more information on it. So, I'm going to start you off with Black Ice programs. The reason for this is when I go over normal programs that you can use, I want you to know what they're going to be used against and also if something is more or less helpful. Not knowing what you're trying to overcome doesn't help you much when you're trying to figure out what tools you have and how to use them. So, here's the main obstacles you'll face first, rather than after. Before we jump into Black Ice itself, know that there are two types of programs we're dealing with. Anti-personnel, which focuses on targeting the netrunner themselves, and anti-program, that focuses on wrecking programs in the net and in your cyber deck. A Black Ice that's anti-personnel is not really going to be helpful against a program, and vice versa. You need the right tool for the job. Black Ice programs have an additional type to them too, a demon. These are not the demons that you're familiar with if you looked into any 2077 media. I'll cover what those are though in the end. You do need to know about them. Think of Black Ice that's in the net waiting for you like traps in a dungeon, at least at first. The only weapon you got to know that they're ahead of you is Pathfinder, which we talked about in the netrunning video a bit. That's why I recommended that you do that first whenever you get into a net. They are completely dormant until you enter the same space they occupy, and then they activate. You then have a roll-off, which is your interface and any speed bonus you may have, plus a d10. The Black Ice has its own speed, and it rolls a d10 just like you. If you fail, it nails you. If you succeed, you dodge the initial hit, be it damage, effect, anything it may have. The Black Ice then enters initiative, and immediately is placed at the top of the initiative order. There is no net initiative, just normal combat initiative. Keep that in mind. You then are going to be dealing with that Black Ice attacking you as a netrunner once every turn. Instead of you defending against it with speed, you'll be defending using your interface rank or, if it's an anti-program, your program's defense. And yes, you suffer the damage to the brain and effect every single time it succeeds. Getting a little handle that netrunning's dangerous now? It gets worse, don't worry. I'm going to show you two examples of Black Ice here. This first one, right here, is Hellhound. You'll run into this one a ton, it's a popular entry-level Black Ice. So, peeking here, you'll see it has Perception, Speed, Attack, Defense, and Res. Res is the Black Ice's HP. Speed you know, Attack you know, but Perception is something that is linked to the Slide interface ability. You can escape from Black Ice using Slide and beating their own roll with this number as a bonus. Defense is anytime you go to attack it, they add this to their roll, and if you beat it, you hit it. Give a little peek to it the effect that this one has, as it does directly attack your brain, but it also forces a neat space effect. It overheats your plugs in Cyberdeck and sets you on fire as it's attacking you in the net. And yes, you do have to put yourself out, but an ally can do it too, so have a friend nearby. Now, the second one here. This is an anti-program one and one of the nastiest Black Ice you'll run into. This is a killer. Now, the reason I'm showing you this one is just to let you see the difference between anti-personnel and anti-program. This guy, if it hits you, instead directly hits the programs you have, and if it does zap one to 0, it outright destroys it. There's a big difference between de-resed and destroyed. If a program is destroyed, well, time to buy some new programs. So by now you're betting, okay, these are bad, why not just run? Well, if a Black Ice becomes active, it now follows you as you move. You can only get away from it by sliding away. And only then will it stop following you in the net, unless you cross paths with it again. They don't de-res this way though, and if you unsafely jack out by moving out of the access point's range or being forced out of the net, they all get to take a swipe at you on your exit. This is the only instance of something that's similar to an attack of opportunity in Cyberpunk Red. Netrunning again is very dangerous for this reason. One screw up and you may take about 8 different hits from different Black Ice all at once. Now onto the third and final one of these bad boys. These are demons, and they need to be mentioned as they're actually intelligent Black Ice you'll run into almost every time you're trying to take control of something in the net. Now this is something more for the GM side of things too, but I'm going to cover it anyway. You're never really going to use one of these as a player. The purpose of these bad guys is to control the nodes in their network, and while intelligent, they are single-minded. This right here is an imp. It's the entry demon. It's got res, but as you see, it has interface just like you, along with net actions and a combat number. Just like normal black ice, a demon pops to the top of the initiative order when encountered. Some differences though is they defend using interface just like you, and actually can zap you right back, but they'll be focusing on using the control ability first and foremost. They use control on a control node to have a meat space effect, like the turret that is now suddenly turned to begin shooting at you as you're jacked in. That combat number is what the GM will add to any attack roll or skill they make as the demon in meat space. Their priority is always going to be what's going on in meat space and attacking you through it. Take down the demon, and you now take control of that camera or turret or security door, you name it. Finally, something I said that last little bit there, what if you could actually use black ice on an enemy if you have some loaded into your own cyber deck? They take up more space, but yes, you can use black ice yourself and you can summon them straight from your cyber deck if you have them loaded and prepped. You can either use them just like the way they're used against you, by laying them down in the same room you're in like a trap, and as you leave, any netrunner coming in behind you will encounter them just like you do. Or you can res them in the middle of combat from your cyber deck. And yes, it'll shoot up to the top of the initiative order just like enemy black ice. So you won't be fighting alone at all if you run into another netrunner. Hopefully I covered all this in an easy way, and I hope you get why I'm not covering programs too in this video. Black ice is going to be the main pain in your ass as a runner. Take precautions ahead against it. Cyber decks can actually be upgraded in all sorts of ways to protect yourself. Like insulated wiring can stop the Hellhound burn effect. There are some very nasty ones. I only covered the babies in this one. I'll have something as a surprise, by the way, when we get to the example netrunning video. And it'll hopefully be some fun for you GMs, since most of these nutshell videos are more player-sided. But yep, that's about it. Take care everyone, and I hope you find yourselves a good table.